Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another review for Boruto Naruto Next Generations Chapter 78. And now that Chapter 78 is done in the books, dude, do we got a lot to talk about. Momoshiki's taking control of Boruto. Boruto's gotten that scar over his eye. Konoha is on a manhunt for Kawaki. Boruto was stated to have lost that eye. And Momoshiki scheming something sinister, all while Shikamaru is coming up with the plan in order to have Kawaki captured for stealing away Naruto. Things are getting out of hand in a very rapid manner with the events of Boruto chapter 78. So with my initial thoughts out of the way, let's back things up a bit and let's dive into the review itself. So the chapter opens up with the immediate aftermath of Kawaki stealing away Naruto and Hinata, with Shikamaru demanding the sensory unit give him an update, and Shikamaru's first thoughts are that Code might have done something beneath their noses when they weren't paying attention, because Naruto's chakra signature is gone. But on top of that, so too is Hinata's chakra signature. While Shikamaru's mind is racing looking for all the answers on what could have possibly have happened to Naruto and Hinata, sweet little Himawari is shown coming home and is immediately confused as to why there are so many people inside of her home and why her family photo is broken. We can see from her expression that she quite doesn't know what's going on here right now, and Himawari has not realized that she's now an orphan. It's then that the chaos continues to ramp up. Boruto, Sarada, Sumire, and Eida, they're all gathered around with Kawaki as the focus of conversation. Shikamaru declares his certainty that Kawaki wouldn't necessarily do any harm to Naruto, but he wants to double check, having Eida use her Semigon to check things out for him. Much to Shikamaru's surprise, Eida reveals that Kawaki is the one who was behind the disappearance of Naruto and Hinata, which outright stuns Boruto, because never in a million years did he ever think that Hinata would have been dragged into this. Boruto, more than anyone else, is beginning to realize that Kawaki is going off of the deep end and that no one is truly safe anymore. When Shikamaru asks Eida where Kawaki is, likely so Shikamaru can begin using that big brain of his to come up with a strategy, Eida reveals that she can't quite exactly track where Kawaki's at because he shrank himself down, which is really important information because we have yet another weakness to Eida's powers. When people use the Sukuna Hikona, she's just as useless as Naruto's six-path sensory abilities were. Naruto couldn't sense Jigen when Jigen shrank down and erased his chakra, and Eida can't accurately see where Kawaki is when he shrank down, which means until he resizes himself, Eida won't be able to accurately pinpoint his location, which kind of makes you wonder, why was Jigen scared of her if those are her only powers? Now, Boruto, upon realizing this, takes off running, realizing that he's the only one who has any type of hope of tracking down Kawaki, since he has Karma and as Sasuke, he can find Kawaki faster than anyone else. We get more information on how Eida's powers work because we see her roll back the scope to see exactly what happened when Naruto was sealed away, and the appearance of her other eye changes as she does this, with Eida seeing inside the room where Naruto and Kawaki were speaking in the past. Eida then drops the bombshell that we all knew was coming at some point, but we didn't know who was going to be one to spill the truth about Boruto dying. Eida tells him that Kawaki's likely to start killing again. Upon hearing this, Sarada shows that she's definitely Sasuke's daughter because she immediately picks up on the truth and pieces everything together. She's asking for answers because she was told that Code was the one who harmed Boruto, but now Eida's saying that Kawaki's very likely to start killing again, and that's when Sarada's face changes and we see the mixture of sadness and anger wash over her because she realizes that Kawaki tried to kill Boruto in the past, and as Shikamaru tries to explain the complexity of the situation, those Uchiha genes inside of Sarada begin running on full gear right now because she rushes off after saying that she would have known the truth about Boruto dying. Knowing how much of a burden that Boruto is carrying alone, Sarada wouldn't have sat still at all. Somewhere the Boruto shippers are taking notes, and I'll end up making every sign Boruto and Sarada in love part 2 because I can already see the shippers using this information in the comment section. However, the other thing that this shows is that Sarada is at a crossroads. She knows that she isn't strong enough to stop Kawaki, but when faced with having to stare down an enemy who's stronger than her in order to protect her friend, as someone who wants to be the Hokage one day, she can't sit still and do absolutely nothing. This leads to Sarada leaving despite Shikamaru and Sumire telling her to stay behind. Things ramp up in the physical sense because as Boruto's rushing to try and find Kawaki, a vortex almost swallows him whole, but Boruto uses his karma to absorb that vortex by instinct, and Kawaki appears saying that he was waiting for the right time to confront Boruto. Kawaki then uses his Daikokuden to summon the chakra cubes in order to try and crush Boruto, which also had the secondary effect of nullifying any sensory abilities, and Kawaki tries to drop them in chakra rods on the Boruto, but Kawaki then reveals that he sealed away Naruto and Hinata in a place that in that dimension they'll never grow hungry, they'll never age. Time basically stops in that dimension. It's then that Kawaki Kawaki and Boruto engage in combat, with Kawaki doing his best to try and kill Boruto, but Boruto dodges the attacks and he does his best to defend himself, all while trying to understand why Kawaki is taking the stance that he does, to which Kawaki coldly replies, "You're an Otsutsuki, nothing more, nothing less, that's all you need to know." Now this is a really good moment for Boruto because he's starting to see some of what his own father Naruto went through when Naruto was his age. In the past, he shared memories with Naruto through his chakra when they used that giant Rasengan on Momoshiki, but those were just snapshots of a pain that Naruto had to live for most of his life. Kawaki looking at Boruto like he's an Otsutsuki, not as a human being, not even as a brother, it cuts deeper than anything else that Boruto's ever known. Boruto is now feeling Naruto's struggle where everyone viewed him as a Jinchuriki or even as a nine-tailed fox itself. They never viewed him as Naruto Uzumaki. Boruto tries to speak reason into Kawaki until he's forced to use his karma to defend against one of Kawaki's more aggressive attacks. Meanwhile, Psy informs Amado of what has happened with Kawaki, and Amado for the 100th time says, "What? No, me, bruh. I have no idea what's going on here. Are you sure that this happened?" Like Amado hasn't already calculated Kawaki pulling something like this off. He was the one who told us that, like, hey, this kid is obsessed with Naruto, you better watch it. But let's say he is indeed sincerely shocked. This just shows how far into madness that Kawaki's truly descending. Psy tells Amado the worst case scenario, basically they're gonna have to kill Kawaki because Kawaki's not gonna listen to them. That's not off the table right now. We then shift back over to Boruto, now taking the offensive against Kawaki, where he's using lightning release, but Kawaki's proven to be very efficient using Ishiki's dojutsu, where he's shrinking down into size and then reappearing in front of Boruto's blind spot to attack him, and this leads to Sarada appearing, and we have a controversial moment with Sarada where there are a lot of split opinions on what has transpired here. When we first got the raw panels in the brief summary, I wonder why didn't Sarada have her Sharingan on? After all, that would come in handy, but now it makes a lot of sense. I'll go further in depth in another video, but Sarada seeing Kawaki both enraged, Boruto in danger, Sarada's own confusion with what she's seen has added to her own intention to serve as a shield for Boruto. She wasn't necessarily going there with the intention to attack, but more so to protect Boruto. It makes sense that she took the stance that she did. She didn't blindly rush in there like she did against Kashin Koji. She saw at least where the situation was. She tried to de-escalate after Kawaki warns her, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you if you get in my way," and she does step in front of Boruto with the intention of acting as a shield. After all, she can't call herself a Hokage one day if she can't do what she can to protect Boruto, even if she isn't physically strong enough to protect him. That is a very Naruto-esque thing to do because Naruto has uttered similar words in the past, and Naruto has stood up to people who at the time were stronger than him before Naruto got a little bit of help from Kurama or Naruto got a little bit of help from Gamabunta, but we'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. But while Sarada does try to talk Kawaki down, Kawaki is in absolute savage mode and he goes right for the kill here. He swings his attack at Sarada and Boruto steps in to protect her, but he ends up getting that scar, and in that moment the entire collective Boruto fandom has cheered. We got the moment we're waiting for. Boruto got his scar. Now we just need to wait for Konoha to be useless and Sarada to get a Mangekyo and for Sasuke to get killed, and everybody has their bingo cards checked off for 2023. However, Boruto, upon getting sliced up, is more insistent on Sarada running away, but Sarada doesn't budge. Her only concern is for Boruto, and Kawaki is as cold-hearted as ever. He's dead set on finishing the job. It's then that Mitsuki and Shikamaru and Konohamaru show up. Shikamaru uses the Shadow Possession Jutsu to trap Kawaki, and Mitsuki uses his Body Modification Jutsu to stretch his arms and cover up Kawaki's Karma Seal. Then we have the GOAT Sasuke Uchiha step in with a sword right at Kawaki's throat, and he tells him the most gangster line ever that Sasuke said since he told Kinshiki in the Boruto movie novelization that if he ever tried to touch his daughter again, he'd do more than cut off his horn. Sasuke tells Kawaki in this moment, "I don't want to kill you, but if you move, if you resist, you're gonna make me." It's only until Konohamaru checks on Boruto that Sarada leaves his side, which is gonna be something we gotta keep in our back pockets because that's gonna be very important. When Kawaki is in question about why he did what he did, Kawaki replies, "I did it all for Lord Seventh," and he doesn't care if he's misunderstood. He doesn't care for their approval because what he did, he believes it's the right thing. As if to confirm Kawaki's suspicions, Momoshiki takes over Boruto's body, and we see this because Momoshiki's Byakugan is manifested. Within seconds, Momoshiki absorbs Shikamaru's Shadow Possession Jutsu, and Kawaki vanishes right away, and he reappears. Momoshiki tells Kawaki to flee, and when Kawaki asks him, "Why are you trying to help me? You know I'm trying to kill you, right?" Momoshiki tells him, "Look around, bruh. You're surrounded by enemies. You might as well flee from here." When When Mitsuki tries to take advantage of Momoshiki and Kawaki having the back and forth dispute, he tries to restrain Kawaki again. Kawaki says that's not gonna work on me twice. He shrinks himself down and he runs away. It's then that Shikamaru comes up with the big plan by saying that Kawaki has to be running low on chakra and he's gonna have to resize himself eventually, and so he orders a manhunt for Kawaki. However, Sasuke's the one who looks over at Momoshiki and he's worried about his true motives, but before he can go any further, Boruto's eyes shuts and Boruto falls over. We see Boruto, he's now back in control of his body and he has no memory of what's happened when Momoshiki was in control of his body, but he does remember taking the blow for Sarada and he tells her not to worry about him, nor should she blame herself for his injury. However, from that look on Mitsuki's face, you can tell that he's thinking about how he's gonna take Kawaki's head, he's gonna turn it sideways, and he's gonna shove it up his Rudy Poo somewhere. The chapter then ends off with Boruto and Momoshiki, and Momoshiki warns Boruto that he's lost the blue eye, not the blue eyes, but the blue eye, and that he's at the beginning of losing everything at the blink of an eye, and his parting words are that the end has now begun. Now from here, we can gather a few things. Either Amado anticipated this, or Amado's made a dire miscalculation. There is no in between, because Amado right now could just step in and stop this whole situation. Amado could say, Kawaki, go to sleep, and the boy keels over, because he's got a shutdown code built into Kawaki. He's the only one who can actually use it. Again, this is a Chekhov's gun. You don't introduce this without bringing it back into the story at some point, and it's very telling Eida has not revealed that information to Shikamaru because she knows it. Which brings me to my next point. Eida now has a decision to make as to if she's going to follow Kawaki or remain in Konoha. Wherever she goes, Damon goes. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens with Amado here. She only agreed to come to Konoha to get closer to Kawaki, and she told Amado if he cannot make that happen for her, she's going to have Amado killed. So it's about time we see how horny for Kawaki that Eida truly is, because she's only loyal to those who are around her as they can help her with her motives. In this case, her motive is to get herself some of that Kawaki toaster strudel. The other thing here is that Kawaki was resolute in his resolve to strike down Boruto, and he's begun to view all ninja the same. We're starting to see what it is that makes Kawaki into that character we saw during the flash forward sequence. Sarada, she wasn't Sarada to him. She was merely a ninja, one who had gotten in the way, and ninjas are pawns that need to be disposed of if the bigger picture requires it. He's willing to do whatever it takes in his quest to take down the Sasuke, and mentally, you can see why he was so dead set on targeting Boruto. First, it was to prove to himself that he can take down Boruto for good, so now he has no hesitation taking down Sasuke. Now, another thing that's important here is that Boruto and Kawaki were in the exact same spots that they were when they were fighting in the flash forward sequence, and we also have Boruto getting his scar in the exact same place that Boruto made that vow to Sarada that, like, hey, I'm gonna be the Shadow Hokage and I'm gonna protect you until you become Shadow Hokage. He's kept up his end of the bargain right here. Now, the other thing that we see is that Shikamaru has stepped in to give orders while Konoha is without Naruto. But Sasuke is also there keeping Shikamaru's back covered, because Sasuke went from having a bad feeling about Momoshiki a few chapters ago to now seeing with his own eyes that they have a Momoshiki problem to deal with. Boruto has regained consciousness and he's regained control, but for how long is the next question everyone has to ask. They have Mitsuki and likely Sarada about to go after Kawaki with differing emotions. Sarada is going to be forever affected by Kawaki giving Boruto that scar that was meant to kill her. She's got extra incentive in order to grow stronger because she doesn't want Boruto to carry that burden alone anymore. But Mitsuki right now looks like he's ready to risk it all and revert back to the Mitsuki that we saw in the Academy arc, who wasn't above going for the kill in the situation if it called for it. At the end of the day, the boy's still Orochimaru's son, and he isn't above playing a deadly game of hide the snake with Kawaki. Finally, the fact that we know Naruto and Hinata are in a time space where time doesn't exist means that Boruto can't use his karma to open a portal there because he has no access to the Daikokuden dimension. They're basically in the same situation a certain character from Jujutsu Kaisen's in, where they're sealed away and the only way out of it is going through the very person that sealed them away. But Kawaki right now is desperate, and desperate people are not to be underrated. However, what's interesting is the fact that the Sukuna Hikona is now stated to have consumed a ton of chakra, which is very interesting. Jigen used it a few times and so did Ishiki, which makes you wonder about the chakra reserves for Jigen at least. He was an imperfect vessel, but could his body have been able to draw out more of Ishiki's chakra than Kawaki's currently able to do? Or, and I think this is the most likely thing, is this a situation where Kawaki's still learning to properly use the jutsu, and it would be ironic if Kawaki, not paying attention to to the chakra control lessons that Sarada was trying to give to him are coming back to bite him, because the whole point in the mental training and the chakra control training that Sarada wanted Team 7 to do in chapter 58, the whole point in that is that chakra control allows you to use the bare minimum amount of chakra needed for high level jutsu, just any jutsu in general. And if Kawaki's burning through more chakra than was required to use its dojutsu powers, then the irony is going to make me laugh out loud. That being said, my chapter question for you guys is, do you think Momoshiki, what do you think he meant when he said you've lost that blue eye forever? Was Momoshiki making a reference to Boruto's Jogan? While you think that over, click here to watch these other videos you see on the screen right now.